Hello everybody, with me I am Rakesh Kulkarni and we are going to recap the last few rounds of the Tata Steel and also predict some opening choices of the future games. Hi Rakesh, how are you doing?
Hi, and hello everyone. Hi, Niranjan. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good as you can see. And so
And
what's the big news?
no big news, just leaders have maintained their position, but
Hello
big news for
everybody,
Indian
with me
fans is Pragananda
I am Rakesh
beat
Kulkarni.
his compatriot Vidit Gujarati. That is the big news. Sadly, Vidit, who we all thought Vidit could have like improved his chances of winning this tournament, but sadly now I think that is looking highly unlikely.
Yep, but I had this feeling that Prananda is not an easy, like the game itself is not so easy because he keeps his chances for a long time. Like he
Yeah.
keeps the pressure. But yesterday's game, to be honest, I did not understand because I saw with it is 2 points up, but the engine is favoring black. Of course, I understand that it's because of the king, but there were no immediate threats looming around the king. But still, the computer heavily favored Pragnananda. And then when it went to the end game, his technique was classy. He put with it into a couple of zugzwang positions and then forced that win, which was remarkable. But I think that game was a little beyond what I could think of. What about you? Were you able to assess and come up with the moves when you saw the game?
Not really from Vidit's side, and I think that was the main reason why the engine was giving White such a minus position. And I was also watching our commentary that Naroditsky and Fiona were doing for chess.com, and they were also had the same feeling that okay, the evaluation is of course very subjective for a human, and like the engine can say -2 or something, but how do we know what exactly is -2? But it's just that if you keep yourself in White's position, there are no real plans. Like you can't really improve your position. You can't do anything, and you are basically reacting to whatever blacks like reacting to all of black's threats. So I think that is one of the most difficult things to do. In fact, if there are only moves to make, that you then you can do it easily. If you remember how Vidit made like a series of only moves against Dubov, those are maybe easier. Here, he didn't have to make only moves; he had to make moves, which were not losing. So it's really tricky.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, kudos to Prag. He converted nicely. In fact, he was not very comfortable about his position after it went into the endgame, as he said in his interview. Like he was not confident that it would win. But after his game, Ramesh told him that, buddy, don't worry, you were totally winning all the way along. And yes, that will definitely boost his confidence. I think his second win of the event, and 3 games for him as well, 3 important games. He also has to really show what he can do at this level.
Yes.
So exciting times ahead for Puck. But sadly, for all the Vidit fans in the chat, so that's not really going great for Vidit and his team.
And I would like to add one more thing in addition to what you've shared is that when Lennart interviewed Prananda said that he was kind of expecting this tournament to be tough, and this expectation somehow helped him to get back into the zone and play the next game after a loss, which is a very stoic philosophy, I think, where you are expecting the worst to happen and you are actually preparing yourself for the worst case scenario beforehand. It's not like you are thinking of losing, but he knew that the tournament was going to be tough and he had a mental balance there. Like he had already checked that particular scenario and then checked off and said, okay, this is a possibility and I will have to be strong. I think this is one thing that not many people discuss about, talk about, but he openly shared that this tournament is difficult and it's like the toughest event that I'm playing, and I'm here to play, so I have to focus on the next game. So that answer was very conveniently given by Prananda. So I really like that approach, and I think that's also a major takeaway for all of us from that Prananda's interview.
Yeah, that is true. And yes, hello to everyone in the chat. We see our mods there. So Hello, everyone. And yes, so what do you think, Niranjan? What do we have in store for the next three games?
Okay, so speaking of the next three games, we have Vidit playing against three opponents, and they are Carlson, and then Mehmet Yarov, and then finally he's going to play Karyakin. All are top class players, but I think
Yeah.
Vidit has a challenge here because he's immediately playing Carlson, so that's like an immediate challenge. But
There are two blacks in three games for Vidit. That's
yeah, so that was
another.
the second point I was going to add because he's playing black against both Carlson and Karyakin. And against Mamedano, he has a white. But it's a kind of situation where you would actually like to be black against Mamedano because Mamedano creates chances and gives chances like how Rappo plays, Richard
Yeah.
Rapport. So, but that way I think a little step back for Vidit there because he lost that game and that actually has changed everything about the tournament now because we were expecting top three and now it's not so easy because he has to score now and it's just half point. I don't know how much improvement it will make to his standings, but I think he is in a must-win situation to come in top three is what I feel.
Right. I think, yeah, like, uh, of course, the tournament could have gone differently, but like we said, even Prague had this feeling that this tournament is tough and he might have to make a comeback, like by playing strong opposition. So, what better a game than beating Magnus Carlsen to make a comeback? And he can really help his best friend Anish Giri to also win the tournament.
Ah, so you're looking at it from that angle. Okay, I get that.
And of course, he helps his own chances. He's not like way far behind. A couple of results here and see, let's say Vidit beats Carlsen tomorrow with black, a little unlikely result, but definitely can happen. It's possible. Then suddenly he has white against Momedero, and Momedero will take chances anyway. So that game also he has white, so he's going to push, and then maybe he is in a good enough position. Last game with Karyakin, again, all the controversy happening with Karyakin, so maybe they take another draw, and VD is suddenly in a very great position. So this game tomorrow is going to be crucial, but some like the only golden lining for Vidit is that he got a rest day today. Okay, he lost a game, but now he has enough time to recover, maybe replan his strategy, and then strike back. If it would have been immediately, I think then it's lesser time, and now he'll be happy to just make some changes, maybe cook up some novelties
Yeah.
against
So
Carl.
speaking of that clash, can you tell me what you think Magnus would play tomorrow as
Okay,
white?
that's tough. Okay, he wouldn't go for the Catalan because Vidit himself plays it. I think he'll just go for some knight f3 stuff, or he'll play London or something. Is
Okay, I
what I
have a
think.
feeling if Vidit goes for NF6 E6 territory, Magnus will go for Katla. Is what I feel because
I think he won't because it's like Vidit is an expert himself. So
yeah, that's my feeling that it will be Catalan if he goes for Nimzo Indian territory, or it will be the
okay,
Queen C2 Nimzo. These are my options because Vidit has not
well,
showed signs of changing opening just like that. But I remember once in Asian Continental, Vidit changed his opening overnight. Like he switched from some model normal system to King's Indian. So that can happen, but again, Magnus, I don't think it's likely. So I think it will be a Nimzo Indian or a Catalan, and if it's Nimzo Indian, then it's Queen C2, or else it will be a normal Catalan, where Vidit will probably try to surprise Magnus, but then Magnus may have already covered that, is what I feel. Like the deviation may come from Vidit from what he's played before, but Magnus may have already covered that territory. This is what I feel could happen.
got it. Yeah, that is definitely possible. Like we can see so many type of openings, but I really feel maybe we might not see a Catalan, but hey, time will tell. Exactly in about 24 hours now, we should be able to guess. We will be able to know the results. And yes, let's see what chat is saying. So hello to everyone in the chat. Welcome, welcome. We are doing the reviews of the last two games at Tata Steel and also giving our predictions for the next game. So feel free to write. Anshuka is writing Catalan. Okay, that's interesting. And one Rishi Agarwal is saying one good game for Magnus and he'll be back. I feel so too. And hello, Siva Reddy and Gauri saying Magnus will try to beat VD to gain an edge, especially after so much of attack on his goal. Probably, but he's Carlson is very professional in these ways. He has said his target is 2900, but I don't think he'll go out of his way. And he has won this event I think 8 times.
Which one?
So the Tata Steel event.
Magnus has won
So
8 times. Are you sure?
yes, I
I
think
thought it
seven
was
or eight.
7 because he has the same
Okay,
number of wins as Vishanand.
as Anya. So this would be his eighth, and this is, as you know, is known as the Wimbledon of chess. So you'd really like to, get one up on Anand sir. So yeah, this is no easy 3 rounds, and I feel with it might be in for another tough day tomorrow, Niranjan.
So what about chances for Petrov? Because Carlsen played e4 and the also Petrov we saw in World Championship match.
Also, but I don't think Carlsen will play e4 tomorrow, is what I feel. Because Vidit also has Karo. Vidit plays what? Karo Khan, Sicilian, e4, e5.
But for this
Plenty.
event he's going to play Petrov.
Are you working with him? So I don't know how.
No, just assumptions
He,
based
he
on what
might
is
he,
done.
he might play the Petrov. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, for Petrov to happen, Magnus has to play e4. So we are not
Correct.
even sure what will happen. But yeah, let us take a few more. Yes, 7 and 5. Uh, yep, 7. That is true, guys. And hello, hello, Janak. Hello, everyone in the chat. And yes, let us know. Maybe it's a great time. We have about enough people. You guys do also like the video if you haven't. So maybe Niranjan, we could have a look at the game we all are talking about, Prague versus Vidit.
Yes.
And guys, do you think it was a surprise that Prague beat Vidit? So just let us know your thoughts about this game and this result in the chat. Like, what are your feelings of about this game? Were you on team Vidit? Were you on team Prague? That's a great question. Me and Niranjan sadly can't pick sides, but
I am
you
I am
guys,
I am from chess side.
yeah, of course, that we are from that side, but we definitely have fans of both the players. Even you can be from Team India's side. There's nothing wrong in that. So let us know in the chat.
Yeah, so I will tell you what I saw as the critical moment of the game. In this position after knight c3 bg4, Vidit had played e4 against Ganguly and he had I think won or drawn. But it was a good game for him. The point is you cannot take the pawn as there is rook d6, the knight is taken and the bishop is lost. But in this game, Vidit played rook d2. But after this, Prananda was not really surprised. He played this move very quickly. But after b4 is b4 is when he started thinking, and then there was this moment where Vidit could have actually maintained the extra pawn by playing queen e7 after rook c1. The point is that this queen safely protects the pawn on e3, allowing queen check, but then there is an option to play queen b4, and if the queens are traded, this pawn that you see as a pass pawn on a4 will be rounded up and will be captured soon. So this was the way to continue for Vidit, who has actually got a very good position, and as a result of his great opening preparation, he had this chance. But after that, it was all very shaky, and I could not really fathom all the details after this point. This point, until this year, it was very clear, but then after this, the game completely changed. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, true. I think Queen E7 was the turning point according to me as well. After this move, it's like Prague got, a chance. Like there was a very narrow opening in the door, but Prague just smashed through it. Like after this, I feel it was all one-way traffic, especially with its had, and like this was the point where Prague got into the game, and the point where Prague got the advantage was a few moves later after that Queen h6, Queen b5 move. But I really feel this was the a key turning point. And honestly, I was surprised that Vidit couldn't didn't play Queen E7 because as we all know, Adiman has coined him as Greedy VD, and Greedy VD never likes to give up. Firstly, it likes to grab material even मतलब कोने का pawn, any pawn, risky pawn, उसको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा. And once he gets those pawns, in fact, he's also like a couple of pawns up right now. So he likes to maintain that and he likes to convert it. And his conversion is absolutely fantastic. So like Queen E7 would have been that move, but Knight, it is also a very nice learning curve for our viewers here that Knight B1 is like you are almost taking, like they say, never bring a piece to the back rank without a good reason. And this was not a good reason. Like Queen E1, Queen B4 would have done the same job that the move Knight B1 was doing. So yeah, this move gave Prague an entry, and later another blunder gave Prague the upper hand.
Yeah.
And yeah, meanwhile, let us take the comments what people were saying. Yes, it was a surprise that VD lost. Rishikesh was on team VD. Anshika felt a draw would have been possible. And Gauri think VD tried too hard. It must have been a shocker for him. And it was not a surprise. But I don't think he tried too hard. He just with it would have won the game, I feel, Niranjan, if he had played Queen E7. What are your thoughts? Like, would he have won?
I would have given 70% chance, yes, because I have seen Vidit playing very good prophylactic moves, and I've also seen him, and he has actually worked really hard on his technique when he was in his teenage years. So based on that observation, I could clearly say that Vidit would not have let that slip. And the later part looked more like an illusion because you see the pawn on a4 with its nature, it did come into play here. He picked the pawn on h6, he picked the pawn on a4, which
Yeah.
somehow opened the line. So you see, there was a lot of psychology involved. And I was having this interesting discussion with the Grandmaster some months back, and he said that if a Grandmaster chooses a very risky line against a player, the press may write it off or they may say it was a very risky idea, but for that player who knows the other opponent, it could have been the only way to win the game. So you cannot really say whether taking that h6 pawn was a mere coincidence or was it really well thought out by Pragnananda that he wanted to give that pawn because he was sure that Vidit would take it. So it's very hard to say whether it was the
I think
psychology or.
he was really happy after Queen B5, like he even said that in his post game interview. But then it was a trap. If Prag knew that Vidhi would take it or would be more inclined to take it, then it was a real clever trap by the 16-year-old or 17-year-old
Yeah,
Prag.
yeah. But he agreed that he was worse out of the opening, and
Of
then
course, that was evident, and like that was really seen from even the body language when we had the player cams on chess.com stream. Yeah, overall, but uh, he, I think with it probably also overestimated his position is what I feel
Mhm.
after the middle, like after the opening. And yeah, but kudos to Prag. Let's maybe also highlight that position where after Queen at six for our fans and for our viewers to show them how what exactly changed the game.
Yes, so it was this moment after Queen c5 where Vidit Gujarati captured this deadly pawn on h6. The reason why this move is a blunder, as I understand it right now, is because the queen is going very far away from the king. So the services of the queen may no longer be useful to protect the king, at least for the next few moves. And this king feels really lonely, and it doesn't have supporters, and that's the reason I would say, to put it mildly, queen takes h6 is not the best move. But rook
Yep.
b4 was the way to continue. Like just keep the pawn, keep everything, and hope for an exchange here. But yeah, that did not happen, and yeah, he lost with queen takes h6. But I am very amazed with this zugzwang sequence that Pragnananda found in this position after rook d1. So when he was not able to make any progress, he played knight e3. So this was a force move. Okay, after rook c8, rook d5, he gave knight d1 check. Now the problem is, in case of 63rd move king b3, there is rook b8 check, and this king will be pushed further. And if king a3, there is knight c3 also, knight e3 also. But in case of rook d5, knight d1, king a3, he found a forced way to exchange these knights, and he is willing to exchange these knights is because the king is way far from the pawn on g5. So when this pawn comes here, this pawn will get a free hand. Then after knight e3, knight c4, this endgame was very well converted. Now white wants to keep this pawn as much as possible, but black wants to capture this pawn and get a pass pawn before this king comes here, so that black can achieve a very comfortable Lucina. For after rook c1, rook a2, you see he made some moves because he was low on time to get increment. And here I like this move king e8, because this rook cannot come here because of the x-ray, cannot come here because of the rook, cannot come here because of the king, cannot come here and here. So this rook has to leave the 7th rank, and the black king will then make progress. And he repeated that process again. Again the same thing, cannot come here, 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 because the king is coming. So that was, I think, clean technique by Pragnananda.
Yeah, and when you're right, and when I saw this position, I was thinking, I can try stuff like play rook c7 myself and then just push the pawn to f6, because probably that position also winning, but white has the move rook a6 and he can just keep stopping that f6 break. But yeah, beautiful technique by Prag in the end to bring home the point.
Yeah, amazing. I really like this technique. So, talking about clashes of Pragnananda, in the
Yep.
next 3 rounds, let's see who he's playing. Alright, let's go. So, Pragnananda is going to play against Caruana with
Fabiano.
white,
Yep.
Dubo with black, and Esipenko with white. Wow, I think that's a very nice color to have. No, against Caruana he has white, and against Dubo he is black, and then against against Esipenko is white. So I feel against Caruana he might play um, probably d4. This is what I feel. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. He'll play different. What would be a successful tournament for Prague if he manages to score 2 or 2.5 out of the last 3 games, because he's also beaten VD. So that would also bring him to, I think, 2.5 would be 6 points out of 13. If he wins all three, then he's back at 50%. And considering that he started as the last seed of the event, I think anything above 6 would be a fantastic result for him. Even if he's managed to score 5.5, it would still be a success, because hey, he's winning rating.
Yes, and yeah, that's right. And I am going to answer this question of Yash Dhawle. Yash Dhawle is saying, when will Vishy return? I'm not sure, but my guess is that he might come back for the Asian Games, which is scheduled to take place in September. He might play that,
Yep.
or he might play
Guys,
the
and
event.
good news. Chess was already part of the Asian Games earlier, but it is being returned to the Asian Games in Shanghai 2022. And also cricket is being returned after 12 years. So Niranjan, we might have both Vishy Anand and Virat Kohli, or other top Indian stars win medals. So cricket and chess growing together would be amazing, and especially in even in like I think they'll have the rapid and blitz most likely what they had in Doha 2010, when Hari Krishna and Koneru Hampi won gold medals, Asian gold for India. So again, remember, Koneru Hampi will is the reigning women's world champion. Like can was in 2020 in 2019. So you never know. We might have Vishy sir in the men's with it also, because you are allowed to send, I think, 2 players in each section, and Harika and Hampi in the women's. So we might have doubled the amount of golds as well.
Yeah, I think they are trying to experiment with the format, because the way it's being done is a little different this time, is what I feel, because the event is really long, and
No,
they
that is just the overall event, and the chess event just happens in 4 or 5 days in between.
I did
So
check
they're
the
not.
calendar. It's on Wikipedia, so you can check. They have marked a specific date for a final event, and
Then I think they might be having the chess thing in classical then this time.
maybe I'm not aware of the specifics, but I
Yeah,
saw the
that is not
dates,
be.
and
Maybe if it's classical, Vishy sir might not even play. You never know. It is tricky. So
okay. So
we might only know the specifics as we get closer. But also, guys, uh, I think Janvi has brought up a great point that now it's really difficult for VD to have a podium finish. I think I agree, but one win against Magnus or really even a simple draw with Magnus as black can boost his confidence. But
And
maybe if it's
Niranjan,
Niranjan, what do you think? How important it is for Vidit to finish this game on a high, because he's immediately playing the Belgrade Grand Prix.
I think Udit will break it in steps. From what I know, like he is somebody who focuses only at the task in hand.
Hmm.
Um, so whatever happens here, I'm sure he will not take that baggage there because he's been training. Thanks to Black Lotus, he's been doing all the meditation. So he has worked on not letting past influence the present. So I think no, he will take that game as just another game and draw against Carlson is an ideal result in itself. But I don't know. We can actually we can talk and discuss whether it's a right approach to um, hope for a fighting game and choose a fighting opening choice or be a solid and then let Magnus take his chances. I don't know. This is a really challenging question to answer, but I think a draw would boost his confidence. That I agree 100% because I have seen with it take a quick draw and then do really well in the next games. He has done this before. He's done this in various events in India, where he just makes a draw and that helps him, in recovering the confidence. And I
Yeah, but
think,
sadly this time he won't. It won't be a quick draw. Like he'll have to.
yeah,
Magnus won't be giving out draws so
yeah,
easily.
with White especially.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday we saw he was just happy to make a draw with Karyakin, and that also brought on some controversy. But we'll stay away from it. But coming back to just to wrap up on Vidit and the Masters section, I think like Prag, even he would like to finish maybe two or two and a half bar three in the next three games.
Yeah, that's true. I think he has good chances, especially against Esipenko. Again, he will get a good chance to play for advantage and like counter. Like looking at his openings, I would say, like let's say Pragnananda has White against Kurwana. I think he will
Two
really press
players
there,
and
and
Asipenko.
against Esipenko too. So I think he can target and prepare against these two players really well. And against Dubov, he has to be like extra sharp and a little
But
more
Dubov is
conservative.
sharp himself, so
I
even
mean,
that
sharp in
game,
terms of understanding where the opening
right,
is going because Dubois is somebody I would call him like the Superman of openings. He knows all the territories that exist.
right,
So and plus he can also improvise. He's like that agent who can also improvise. For example, yesterday he played a line that I had also prepared a long time back, and he played it without castling. He played C3 D4 without castling, and I thought he had made a mistake. Even Daniel Narodsky talked about this that maybe it was a mistake or an error from his part, but it's not clear whether it was an error or not. But he changed that momentum by going 000.
yeah.
So that's a kind of approach
Yeah,
Dubo has.
he's an enterprising player for sure. So let's see. I think Prag's next three games looks easier than VD's next three games.
Yeah, yeah,
Is what I
that's that. I mean, all are really great, but seeing that he has two wide games, I prefer his chances really.
right. And yes, we also have some comments in the chat. Manas is saying, why don't people understand that Vidus has never defeated Magnus, and it's most likely not possible. But hey, he has also never lost to Magnus in a classical game. So, and there's always a time. There's also always a first time for stuff. So you never know, might happen. It's definitely a possibility. And VD is not a quick type of player. The Hawk says always fights. Yes, that is true as well. I think now we know why Dubov lost yesterday. Aman Singh, yes, that was a great insight by Niranjan there about the openings and the openings that he himself plays as well. And guys, that is why, because of the points that Niranjan mentioned, Magnus Carlsen has Daniel
Dubo.
Dubov on his World Championship winning team for a reason since I think 2016. So Dubov knows so much stuff, and that is why he is helping the world champion and not Russians. Like that was another controversy that happened in late December 2019. And guys, yes, the people who are joining in
2020,
a
you
little
mean?
later,
2021.
yeah, 2021, sorry. So yeah, people who are just joining in a little later, so we are just recapping and giving our previews for the last leg of the Tata Steel event. And if you just haven't yet hit the like button, do hit that. We really appreciate that.
Yes, and do note, all viewers, that the last round starts early, at
Yep.
least 2 hours early. So that means it will start at 4:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time,
Yep.
and that means, yeah, again a little bit less time comparatively to prepare for games, and there is no longer any other rest day because the tournament is getting over in 3 rounds.
Right.
And now coming to, before we go to the challengers section, Rakesh, do you have any thoughts, or have we forgotten or missed any points to cover from the masters section?
Um, I think Rapo's win over Caruana was a fantastic win.
Okay, let me just pick that. Which round?
I really like just this last round,
Ah,
10
yes,
round.
I got it. So it's here. This is the
So
game
maybe
that Rakesh is
if you
talking
just
about.
just go, near the last 10 moves are the most critical. That I think the viewers would love this.
Okay. So I'm at move number 30 and the game ended at 42nd move. So I will go to 32nd move. King
Yeah.
d2 and then rook d8 check. So black has bishop and white has a knight. Both the sides have 4 pawns.
Yeah, it's actually best if we okay, 32, that is fine. So you just see that of course you might think अरे ये तो equal है, ये तो draw हो जाएगा, or white is a pawn up actually, but these two pawns on the king side for black are very tricky, and that is beautiful use of tricks and technique by Rapo here. So I really like the fact. So we can just start scrolling ahead.
King e2, king f6,
F6, B3, A5 is okay. And
king
basically,
e1.
it's the same point that Niranjan, I was talking about a few minutes earlier about Vidit versus Prag. मतलब
Okay.
white has an extra pawn, but कोई
No, white
activity
has
नहीं है.
same pawns,
There is
no?
No, there are five. Oh, sorry. There are four. One, two, three, four. Yeah, one, two, three, four. Sorry. So same pawns, but white has no activity, which or no plans. I think activity is one thing, but if you have no plans, you are kind of at the mercy of your opponent, which is something I really don't like personally as well. And I don't think many players like this feeling.
Yeah.
One thing is like you have, I think there's a very famous quote, I don't remember by who, but they say that a wrong plan is better than no plan. But यहाँ पे तो chance ही नहीं है. Like white has to keep his rook on the G file, otherwise these pawns will run. The knight has to be on F4 because it has to control important squares like D3 for both the bishop and the rook that can enter. And basically he's stuck.
Yeah.
And like former world number two or former challenger, now he's sadly slid down in the rankings. But Karwan also couldn't come up with stuff. And just if we go a few moves ahead, Niranjan, see, this is move number 35.
Hmm.
Many mere mortals would have maybe not even won this game. Maybe master players or grandmasters would have won maybe in about move 60, 70.
Yeah.
But Rapo's pressure, I think it was also on the clock, as well as just the mere fact that he has a great position. He just simply brings it. Like when he's playing, it looks so good. So let's keep a few moves ahead.
King
Maybe we go
e1,
to Rook
king
H.
e5,
Yeah,
knight g2,
yeah,
rook h8.
Rook H8, Knight F4. Now, in the Knight F4 is like was the last straw, was the last nail in the coffin. But again, it's really hard to suggest a move to white. So we'll give him that. But now, guys, wo bolte na past pawns should be pushed. So Rapport does that beautifully by playing G3.
Okay, g3. And what if it takes at g3?
Yeah, if you take it, white is lost again because black just plays H3, and now that pawn goes to H1 and
Yeah.
bishop E4 I have in the end. So okay, you can play knight into H3, but
Yeah, that's
at
true.
any level probably that is just lost.
Yeah.
So Fabi is aware, so he just plays I think he plays rook G2,
Yes.
bishop E4, nice move, but like tickling the rook a little bit more. Rook moves away to D2. Now the star move, this is what I really like. Pawn to H3
Cannot take
again.
because of h2.
Yeah, cannot take. And it's also, I'm literally saying, I played this move. What will you play? It's basically Zugzwang in a fun way.
Yeah.
So white is again like just uncomfortable is a very nice word here. So he plays pawn to A3. And beautiful move now.
Oh,
Free
okay.
rook d8. And if you remember, Niranjan, we also discussed Rapo's win over Van for East, where he played rook h1 in one of the earlier recaps.
Correct.
So, second time in a row, as black, he has sacrificed a rook and won a game. So,
Point
guys, of
is,
course, if you take rook d8, then just gh2 is lost. If you still take on h3, rook d2, king d2 ke baad h2 is lost. So Fabiano just plays rook to b2, hoping for a miracle. But again, now the pawns have done their trick. They have created the pressure. So don't do anything more. Just play the simple, cute bishop f3. Now you're threatening rook to d1 mate, and a beautiful, beautiful end. Let's say you take the pawn h g3, just rook d1 check, king f2, and pawn to h2. And beautiful. I really like this last part by
wow,
Richard Truffaut.
very nice. So this bishop f3 and this is like a mating threat, so we can bring the danger comes and then rook d1 is a mate. Yeah, very beautiful game by Richard Repo, and I remember watching his interview and he said that this is his first ever win in a classical match against Fabiano Caruana, and he called
Yep.
it as a new feeling.
Yep. And with black, which makes it even more sweeter. I think okay, Rappo doesn't really care about the color, but slowly, Niranjan, don't you feel like Rappo is also creeping up in that top 10 and making his presence felt at such events? Earlier, he was a participant, but now he's really making his presence felt.
I feel that I thought when I saw his games for the first time many years back, I thought he will really be a top class player, and for me that's not surprise that he's doing this. And I have a personal connection this way that I actually played against Richard Repo once and have drawn him, and that
Oh
was in
wow!
Reykjavik
When,
Open.
when was this? Which year was this?
2018 or 2017, but no, it's not in a chess game, okay. I drew in chess 960.
Okay, I think he's more stronger in that format. So it
Yeah,
is actually a much better result. So
so I was
well,
very
well done.
happy. Thank you,
And
thank you,
he
thank you.
was already like I think about 27, 30 or something
Yeah,
at
it was
that time.
2730. I will tell you the moment I became his fan. There is one moment where I became his fan, and that was when his opponent, he was playing black, okay? His opponent was
Against
Hamid
someone else.
Waisi against someone else in the Reykjavik
Okay.
Open, and Hamid Waisi played a3, okay?
A.
a3, yeah. He played a3.
This is normal chess we are
Normal
talking,
chess,
right?
yes, yes. Reykjavik
Okay.
Open, in this position, he played a3. It's there in the database. You can see it. He played a3 here, and
Let me guess. Rapo played A6 or he played H6.
he played h6.
Yeah.
And he won that game, and that game is something I show my students about activity in endgame. So that is one game which can tell you how to play chess endgames with a little better endgame, like a slightly better position in the ending, how to play. Amazing game, and I became a fan because I watched this game live, and I thought, oh, this guy will make it really far someday.
Wow, that is awesome. And I think he had already been 2750. Then he had a drop, went down to 2675 or something. That was, I think that was the time when I got to play him in I think Abu Dhabi Open in 2016 or something. And okay, he crushed me totally. But then like I just had a nice feeling that I have played someone like a top elite player. And Niranjan, with yesterday's win, Rapo has entered the world top 10 for the first time, and he's on the live
Wow,
rating.
very nice. I'm a
So
fan of Rapo. Very good.
me too, like a great player. So guys, yes, that was our stories with Richard Rapo, and I think that's a great segue into the next part, that is the challenges event, and only one person to talk about here.
Yeah, Arjuna Regesi and dear viewers, today it's a perfect time to know about Arjuna Regesi. We have released a video on our channel, and Rakesh will tell you more about it.
Yes, so guys, this is from the This or That series with Grandmaster that we are doing. So after this live stream that will end very shortly, you can just click on our video, on our page, and you can check out the latest video that we have published. So we asked him stuff like, white or black in Armageddon, or Adiban's B3 or Hikaru's Bonk Crowd and stuff like that. So you will really know what are Arjun's preferences. And boy oh boy, this is a player who is going to reach 2700 very soon. Not my words. Magnus Carlsen himself has said this. And I think he's going to be the next Indian to reach 2700 for sure, like guaranteed. Even though I think he's India number 7 right now, just a point behind. No, he's India number 6 right now, a point behind, I think, SL Narayanan. But he's already above Adiban. He's already above Nihal Sadin on the live rating list. And if he gets more games like this, he might reach 2700 in the first half of 2022.
Yeah, I think he might even play these open events that are happening. Like for example, Reykjavik Open, he might play there. It's a big tournament to shine.
Yep, probably. And uh, hello to everyone who is joining us a bit late. And Jai Shri Krishna from Italy. Ozo Shatranj. Hello from Italy. Hope you are having fun. And thank you to our mod, The Hawk, for sharing the link in the chat. एंड यस गाइस, अर्जुन ओपी हो जाए चैट में एक बार, क्योंकि जबरदस्त खिलाड़ी. एंड व्हाट इज दिस निरंजन, 9.5? नो नो नो,
9.5,
9.
yes.
No, how many? No, there are 10 games completed, no, so 8.5.
8.5 out of 10, yeah. 8
Yeah,
bar
yeah.
9,
8.5
8.5.
out of 10, unbeaten, guys. 7 wins, 3 draws, and he has one foot in in the master section next year. He just got to make sure he finishes this calmly. And boy oh boy, next year we'll be talking about Arjun
Yes.
playing the likes of Magnus Carlsen and everyone else in the top 10.
No, what really surprised me is that you know Arjun has been playing events here, but Magnus Carlsen said that he not only feels that Arjun will be 2700 plus, but Arjun also plays the kind of chess that Magnus Carlsen enjoys to watch. So that's, I think, a big compliment, because Magnus is saying that he's playing something really different and that he's enjoying the games of Arjun. That's, I think, a huge compliment for Arjun. So that was, I think, a takeaway for me when I watched his interview.
Yeah, and guys, Magnus Carlsen said he just knows, he has a feeling that Arjun Erigasi belongs in the top 10 or the elite players of the world. And the last time Carlsen said something about this was, for the likes of Ali Reza Firouzja. So boy oh boy, Niranjan, if we have already so many stars like near that rating. And if Arjun manages to break that, it would be a great feeling for
Yeah,
all Indian
I
fans.
think the coming days are pretty bright for Indian chess. So many stars, and we'll also see, I think, a similar growth in the women's section soon. But at least in the men's section, we clearly see some faces who are going to like dominate in the coming years.
Yep. And Niranjan, like I know you are pretty much you know about cricket and the IPL. Guys, do remember we have the Indian Chess League coming up in June 2022 as well. Like hoping all the things remain normal, the world is back to normal. So we have an OTB style event. It's going to be a rapid event, and Arjun is obviously great in faster formats. So you think that even his own brand or his price has gone considerably up after November 2021?
Of course, 100%.
Like
Like
he might not be one of the top picks for the team owners earlier, but
now,
after
so
the last
everybody will be
3 months,
saying,
he might be the most sold player, maybe after Vidit or Vishy, probably.
yeah, it's a possibility. I don't know if Vishy sir will be there playing in the event, but definitely,
Probably. Like he will be one of the top picks, is what I feel.
yeah, yeah, Arjun Ergasi will be there, and then I think Nihal. So it's a tough clash, like who to pick. But yeah, Arjun has shown great results in the recent times. So yeah, that's also, I think, a sign of great times for India. I want to show you one example, like the difference I was able to spot. Like we know in this game that Arjun Erigesi is the higher seed, and I was watching this game live. And in this position, after knight c3, queen e6, king f1, queen c4, even Fischer has played this position before, but after knight e5, queen b4, a3. In this position, I thought that the game is going to end in a draw, and I saw
Mm-hmm.
this variation: queen d6, and then you just take. What if I play knight e4? You cannot play e7, or you cannot play queen d7 or d8, because if you go queen e7 there is d5. If you go queen d7 there is knight c5. If you go queen d8 there is bishop into c6, also rook c1. So I thought black is forced to play queen d5, knight c3, queen d6, and I thought, okay, Arjun will walk away with a draw here.
Yeah.
And I was not sure. I thought it's the only move. What is there in this? Why is he not taking a draw and then going out? But after some thought, he played queen b6. And then I realized, oh, this is a way to avoid a draw. And now the problems start, because white was probably thinking of getting a draw there. And now suddenly white is not left with that option to force a perpetual. And white has to play this line with bishop c6. And then if you look at it strategically, this pawn is isolated, and this king is going to safe corner on c8, I mean on the queen side, and then it is black who will start playing for a win. And that's what happened. So eventually he created some complications in such a way that he ended up into an endgame where his pawns were faster than his opponent's pawns, just one move faster. Okay, here you see, this is the position, both the pawns are in the starting position here. This pawn has moved a little bit, and so has this pawn. And then just because it is Arjun Erigis's turn here, he wins with b5. This is amazing.
Yep. Beautiful. And yes, guys, listen to the Hawk, our moderator in the chat. Let's smash that like button so we reach 50 likes. And Anupama ji is asking, "Kab hai chess league auction? Kab hai chess league auction?" So I think that the teams will be announced first, and the team owners, and then probably we might have it in March. We were also going to have the Indian National Championship for both men and women, and also the Indian Junior Championship for boys and girls. But sadly, because of the pandemic situation, it is slightly delayed. But I think if the situation improves, we should have it, maybe the auction in March or something, so that the teams would also like to prep March or April. And then in June is when me and Niranjan will be bringing you all the action live from on site. But I'm looking forward to that. But yes, we have the Tata Steel next 3 rounds. Then we have a FIDE Grand Prix before that. So it's going to be a fun few next months for Indian chess.
Yeah, I can already see a lot of big events. Like after the Grand Prix, there will be Reykjavik Open, and then after that there will be Indian Chess League, and then after that there will be Online Olympiad probably, and then
Yep.
Asian Games, and then before Asian Games, I think there will be candidates. So
Yeah, candidates and both the league should be in June, I think, June, July probably.
yeah, so it's like that. So almost we have come until October now.
Candidates would be of Indian interest. We have only one player who can qualify now. That is Vidit Gujarati.
Oh
No other
yeah,
player can qualify. No other Indian player can qualify to the candidates now.
yeah.
So
I hope he
hoping that
makes it.
happens.
I think if he continues playing at this level consistently, it will be, I think, a possibility. Let's hope. Let's hope that with it does it. And I'm also rooting for him in the coming games. Let's hope. I mean, 2.5/3 is not easy, but definitely a possibility. And that draw against Carlsen or a win against Carlsen could change things.
Yeah. And suddenly people will not even write or talk about his loss to Prague. That is how big of a game it is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a nice comment in the chat. Akshit is saying, Sam Shankland and Niranjan sir have the same look. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I have a picture in which we both are almost in the same, let's say, the beard kind of looks the same thing. And I took it in Kolkata. I think you were the one who clicked it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I am a fan of Sam Shankland's advice, the kind of advice he gives. I am a huge fan, and also he's written a lot of good material. So his wisdom is really worth consuming. It's good to understand what he thinks about chess. So I'm a fan of his guidance, basically.
True. And he has written a couple of fantastic books, guys. So do check that out as well. It is all related to pawn play. That means just small, and it's titled Small Steps to Giant Improvement. And fun fact is, Niranjan, it was the first time a game of mine has been published in a chess book. And it is the same game that I was talking about. Like I lost the game, but I'm still happy to feature in that book.
Richard Rapport
And
game.
it was Richard Rappo's win over me. How Richard tricked me, or just showed great technique to win the game. in that
Oh,
book.
you should have got that book in Kolkata. I would have taken an autograph, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot that about. But we had like a last minute trip to Kolkata. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
coming back to this section, Niranjan, if you can show the standings,
Yeah,
if let me know if you can,
I will. I will.
because
One moment.
I just wanted to show the standings for the challenges group, guys. Arjun Erugasi has a 2 point lead. So basically, if he wins tomorrow, and the other guys, the other trailers like this, Nguyen from Czech Republic and Jonas Bier from Denmark, if they don't win, he's a champion with 2 games to go, and probably that has never happened in the history of Tata Steel. So fantastic days ahead for Arjun as well. And if you guys go back in history in 2004, this was the same event. Like that time, we also used to have Tata Steel Group C, and Magnus Carlsen burst to the international scene for the first time by winning the 2004 C Group event. So Arjun also creating history, but he announced himself in Kolkata, but here he's showing that he's ready to play it at the very highest level.
100%. I agree. But yeah, he's. I mean, I don't see, or maybe he's playing in such a way where you cannot really spot weaknesses in his games. At least in this event, I could not spot an area in which he is trailing behind. Except for one game against Rinat, I think it's been pretty clean so far, and I hope he
Yeah.
keeps it that way because it will be such a dominating performance to finish with.
Right, and just before we wrap up, guys, I'll let you know who Arjun is playing. So he's playing Erwin Lamy, the second of Anish Giri for I think about more than 10 years now. So he's playing Lamy tomorrow with Black. Then he plays Nguyen, the guy who's in third place, who's in second place right now from the Czech Republic. Again, a very young talent, 18-year-old talent, same as Arjun, and he would be going for blood. But Arjun has the advantage of having the white pieces in round 12, and Arjun wraps his event with the tail ender, Marc Andrea Maurizi, who's a 14-year-old grandmaster from France. So I think looks good for us. I think Arjun should be heading into the Masters group because he has a 2 point lead, which is just too much at this point.
Yes, I think he has everything again at his disposal. Good advice, guidance, open preparation, good frame of mind, and 2 points healthy lead as a backup. So I think things are all good and set for him, and we are going to see him become the champion of this event in the next 3 days. By the next 3 days, you will see that happen. And maybe if he
Yep.
wins tomorrow, it's over. No, tomorrow if he wins, it's over.
Yeah, then the second guys should not win. Otherwise, there might be a playoff
Yeah.
for the top.
Okay, okay.
But
Let's
yeah,
hope.
now it's a great feel. Like now we have to just predict by which round Arjun will win. So I
11th
think by
round.
round 12 he should win the event. By round 12 is my prediction.
Okay, so I'll keep an eye to see if he wins by round 11. I'll just keep an eye so that we can
Tomorrow,
share the news. Right? Because let's say those two players they just go draw, or they drop half a point, and Arjun wins,
probably.
then he'll be 2.5 points ahead of them.
Yeah, already, like, which is just too much.
Yeah, let's
So
hope. Let's hope he does his best. And
yeah, and also we have another Indian star. Just a quick word on Gangs.
yes, let's
He,
go.
he who is also recording videos for all Indian stars. So do check that series out on chess.com videos. Platinum and diamond members can access it for free. And Gangs is on 5 bar 10, 50%, not too bad. But with Arjun's points, everybody's performance is looking like normal or like a little under par.
Hmm. But I think this event is like that. Like if you are in a good frame, like let's say the top three in the first half of the event, your chances improve. But then I think the turning point was when Arjun Agassi won against Ganguly. So that was a turning point in
Yeah,
the event, I think.
true.
But nevertheless, he did play some interesting games in the event. Also, this game that Magnus pointed out, I think, was also very fun. Like it was fun to watch, but of course, result-wise was not in favor of Ganguly. But it was a very interesting game. It was also shown by our producer Big on
Yep.
the stream.
On the live stream. Yeah, that is true. And we just missed a very strong player in the chat. That was Ashwat Raja from
Oh,
Tamil Nadu. So he just said
hi
that he's
Rakesh.
Yeah, he's just about to go. So thanks, Ashwat, for dropping by. And yes, happy to have you in the chat. And Saswat Parida is saying, if VD became India number one, it will be the first time someone has replaced Anand as India number one in his chess career. Yes, that is true because Hari Krishna just managed to beat like go above Anand sir, but it was a live ratings. It has never been a published
Oh, did
ratings.
he like overtake Vishyana?
Yes, Hari Krishna did in a live ratings for I
Oh,
think for
okay.
one day because maybe Hari Krishna dropped himself or Vishiswar won in some other tournament somewhere.
Acha,
But yeah,
okay.
in a published list. But another drawback, Niranjan, that we didn't discuss is VD lost okay to Prague, but he has lost many points also in that in
Oh,
rating
let's see how
because
much he's lost.
I think he lost like 5 points yesterday.
So,
So
Mr. Vidit, okay. So, right now he's gaining only 4.2 points after all that hard work.
yeah, and he lost 6.6 points if we have thanks to 2700 chess that we have. That is massive. But if he wins tomorrow, he'll get those six plus more. He'll get like 7 points, 7 points at least.
Yeah.
So big game for everything, like for so many things for Vidit.
Yeah. Lot on stake in addition to
Yep.
this
And guys,
tournament.
6:30 the games start tomorrow. And
Hmm.
just guys, let us know if you have any last questions before we wrap up.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, Niranjan, what do you think? What will be Prag's rank? Or what do you predict Prag's rank at the end of the tournament? I have a number in mind. Let's see if our numbers match.
I think he's right now on 3.5, so 2 points can
Yeah,
give him. Oh, so he'll finish in the bottom half, that's certain.
correct.
But maybe ninth. Ninth is what I would say.
Okay, I feel Prag might finish 10th. So, guys, let us know in the chat as well. What are your predictions for Prag's rank at the end? So, I think, but still, 9th or 10th would also be a great result considering he was ranked 14th before the start. So, it is really interesting. And let me just quickly check how Prague is doing in this event. Like, do you think he's gaining points?
I don't know. I'm not good at calculating ratings, so you are
So
the master here.
so Prague was actually losing rating before this event, before this game. Sorry,
Okay?
and thanks to this 6.6 points win, he had gained the exact number of points that Vidit lost. So now he's +3 actually in rating.
Oh, it's like bank balance. आपसे लिया,
Almost, yeah,
आपको दिया.
debit and credit. But it's really shocking to see that Arjun is almost 60 points ahead of Prag now. Like that is unimaginable. That would have been an unimaginable statement a few months ago.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, all thanks to the right opportunities. Like they say, sometimes you have to be prepared enough to be in the right place at the right time to do the right thing.
Yep, that is true. Absolutely true. And published rating is the rating published by feeder. Yes, at the every month. Yes, thanks to the Hawk for saying that. Darth Vader thinks Prag will finish 12th, which is one above his current ranking, that is 13. If VD wins 3 bar 3 on next round, will he be in top 3? I think for sure he might even win the event if he scores 3 by. Yeah, he might win. He might actually win the event if he scores 3 bar 3. But
Wow.
guys, this is not some chess.com random games that you're playing. You're playing against the absolute best in the world, but definitely possible.
Yeah. So if he wins 3 games, I think he will also be India number one.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, that might also be true. But it's now he's 20 points behind Anand sir because of that loss.
Oh, then I don't know. Then I don't
So
know.
okay, that is maybe a little bit wishful thinking. But yeah, exciting games, guys, coming up. As Niranjan pointed out, 6:30 is the start time for the next two games. Then last round will start 2 hours earlier. That is at 4:30 p.m. India
Correct.
time. So,
Yep.
all right, I think it's a good time to wrap up, Niranjan, unless you have any questions.
Yeah, I think it is the right time. We have covered the prediction, opening choices, and we also covered the games of rounds that happened in the last 2 days. So I think
Yeah.
we are in a good position to wrap up, and maybe there will be a video, or we might do a stream on the standings once everything is over, so we can give a good closure to the event.
Yeah, maybe after the event we can do like a final recap, and maybe we or maybe Niranjan will have Arjun Erigasi's interview as well after he wins the
Yeah,
event.
yeah,
That
that
would
would
be
be
fun
great.
because we both interviewed him after Arjun, just minutes, literally minutes after Arjun won the Tata Steel Rapid event. So that would be fun, Niranjan, if we can do that.
Yes, yes.
And Anubhava is asking just before, sorry, Niranjan, last question. Who's performed better than Arjun in challenges? Vidit has won the challenges as well as Adiban in the past. Prag hasn't won the challenges, but he was invited directly to the Masters. But Arjun will earn his place there. And also, I think Magnus Carlsen, like I told you guys a little while ago, he won the C group in 2004, and his score was 10 out of 13. So, and he scored his first. That was his first GM now. So I think if Arjun manages to score 1.5 points, he will match Carlson's score of 10 on 13 there in that event.
Yeah, 1.5 by 3 definitely possible. Maybe he can do 10.5 or 11. Um,
Yeah, definitely. And yes, guys, just before we go, thanks to Niranjan for putting in the link of the video. After you've liked this stream and subscribed to the channel, head on over to know Arjun Erigasi's preferences by clicking on the link given in the chat now.
Yes. All right, guys, and thank you very much for being such a huge fan of the game, and thanks for watching. I hope you liked the stream and the concept of reviewing games and talking about the future games. And thank you, Rakesh, for being here with me. It was fun doing this.
Always a fun, Niranjan.
And with that, I would like to say thank you, stay safe, take care, bye bye. I'll see you in another video stream.
Bye, guys.